We are now recording.
Okay.
Does a staff person lead the elections? I don't have any info about it.
Yeah, so on the agenda is the elections of officers for the upcoming fiscal year 2026. For FY 2025, Shayla is chair, and Hannah is vice chair. In the past, you have had the co-chair and vice chair, so 3 elected officers. You can keep the format of chair and vice chair, or go back to co-chairs with a vice chair, depending on your preference. And the chairs would go into effect, the turn of the fiscal year. We don't have a meeting on July 1st, so July 15th would be the first meeting, of the fiscal year.
Chapin?
Can I add that traditionally, and maybe this is partly my opinion, I'd like to see people be 2 years at a time at any position. And so whoever is like vice chair gets 2 years of experience. And whoever is chair has more continuity for 2 years. In other words, I favor keeping things rotating, but not necessarily annually, but biannually. I've been in favor of that, and I think I did 2 years, and then you did 2 years, Megan. Am I right? And
Yeah.
then our co-chairs, did they do 2 years? I think Jill and yeah. And of course, and then Ellie was in there as vice chair for a while, I realize. Anyway, I think it's good to keep things rolling and moving and not have them roll and move too fast is the bottom line. I just wanted to share.
So
Can I
right
ask an
now,
embarrassing question? Have I only been a chair for 1 year, or have I already done it for 2 years?
I thought you had just done it for 1 year so far, but were previously a co-chair.
Mhm. So right now, Shayla is chair and I'm vice chair. Does anyone want to change? What's a good way can I just ask, does anyone want to change that? Does anyone want to be vice chair that's not, or does anyone want to be chair that's not? And does Shayla, do you want to not be chair? I'm fine with being vice chair. Like, does anyone want to
I would
propose
love-
change?
I would love to propose, if if people are happy with my chairpersonship and I have only done it for 1 year, I would do it again. But given my childcare and schedule issues, I would love a co-chair if I did that, because I feel, or if Hannah is okay running more of the meetings than a vice chair normally would, because I feel conscious about the fact that I have a family medical stuff that I have to go do that interrupts my ability to participate perfectly. So that would be my request, either going to adding a vice chair or adding a co-chair, or just if Hannah is okay being a powerful vice chair.
Chapin, your thoughts?
Can I make a motion?
Yeah.
I'm jumping to conclusions a little bit, but I would be interested in nominating Shayla as chair for the next year and Hannah as vice chair for the next year, because I feel vice chair is sort of like a co-chair. It's a backup chair. And so we really have 3 when we have co-chairs, which is fine. And we've done it before for workload considerations, but I think it's a chair and a co-chair are great, and we have great ones now, and they have only been in that role for a year. And so my motion, if it's accepted, would be to have the 2 current people continue 1 more year.
Second.
All right, second. Any other discussion, or are we ready to vote?
Can we nominate Steve if he's not here?
Yeah.
I think he would be a great, just to honor what Shayla's saying about wanting backup and assistance. I think Steve would be great too. Like, promote Hannah and put Steve in vice chair.
Well, Steve has some ongoing medical issues, I believe, and so he hasn't been here in a while. And so I think we should probably not tap him at the moment. He's got a lot going on. But I agree, I think he would be great, but maybe we wait until he's at a place where he can opt in.
If the vice chair remains vacant, can someone fill it later? or is this a one-time appointment?
No, you can do this anytime. We've just sort of adopted the
Mhm.
practice of trying to always do it on the turn of the fiscal
Oh,
year.
wait, I wanna be vice chair and not two
I was
co-chairs.
curious
Yeah,
about
I
that.
don't wanna
Yeah.
be, I don't need, I feel like, I agree with Chapin, I think with the size of with the size of the commission, I think it makes sense to have a chair and a vice chair, and when you have two co-chairs and a vice chair, it's like half of the people are a chair of some
Right.
sort. So, yeah, that's my thought on that too. Alright. Alright, should we vote? All in, Chapin's motion has been seconded. So all in favor, say aye.
I,
I,
Any no opposed?
yeah.
That was everyone. Lovely.
And do we have any updates on getting a new alternate?
I have not heard anything, I will keep you appraised. But there's a listing out for the volunteers. Aaron does say that the best thing is word of mouth of telling social groups, organizations, people you know, that the positions are available, but for planning commission and other boards and committees.
Also just before Shayla has to go, I just wanted to share that tomorrow is actually my last day with the town. Sorry for the late notice. I did give 2 weeks, but yeah, I am moving to Maine and I'm going to be a regional transportation planner for their council of governments there, so.
Congratulations.
I ran into my.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Trader Joe's.
Oh,
I
thank
misspelled
you.
your name, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
We will miss you.
All the
That's
H's
super
and no,
fair.
one M. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I've had a great year here and you guys are a really awesome planning commission to get introduced to all of it, so. Yeah, I can only hope that the next round of volunteer boards is going to be as awesome as this one.
Thank you for your excellent work and especially the maps, you know, the town plan, you'll.
Yeah, the
you'll be
maps are
lasting
amazing.
Yeah, it's likely those will be a legacy for the duration of this plan and maybe beyond.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
they're gonna live quite a while, so
Yeah.
your mark will be upon the town for
That's right.
quite some time, which is cool.
That is cool.
Yes, thank you for all of your work and good luck and congratulations on
Thanks.
where you go next.
Yeah, I'll be in touch.
All right, back to minutes. We got our officers done.
All right, guys. I apologize. I'm gonna skedaddle, but thank you. I appreciate all of your faith in my leadership despite my occasional absences, and thank you, Hannah, for your strong vice chairwomanship. Chairpersonship. Thank you. Okay.
Bye, Shayla.
All right, minutes. We can take a minute to look at them. It looks like there are a couple comments that were made.
Yeah, I thought I recalled that Karen Peterson, is she our representative to some board?
To the Regional Planning Commission.
But then later in the meeting, Darren said we need to make sure we have a representative to that.
At the select board meeting with this, he wanted a representative from the planning commission to be at a meeting with the select board where they were talking. about
Okay,
tier
we need to clarify that then, because, no, it's totally fine. I misinterpreted what is currently written, and I'm a guest user here. It said, it says Darren also requested that the planning commission address their vacant representative position on the CCRPC board.
Maybe
I don't
it's
know.
the mix up with the housing committee that we talk about, right? Is it?
Oh, yeah, I
Must
guess there
be.
were two things. There was, he
Yeah.
wanted someone from the planning commission to be a representative when they go to the select board, and also, I think Melinda
There's two
brought up
different thing of
as
this
the
now.
vacancy on
Okay.
the housing.
Yeah, I think we do have a
Okay.
CCRPC alternate, unfilled, an unexpired term to be filled.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what that's what it is, it's
So
the
the
alternate.
alternate.
And was that what he was talking about, or is it something Mickey is remembering about the housing committee?
We had a discussion afterwards when, after the meeting, Melinda said they're looking for someone for the housing,
Oh,
committee.
yeah,
So we should-
That was after.
but it was after the meeting.
okay.
So how,
Should we just say Darren
Um,
suggested that the planning commission
send a representative to the select board.
consider or noted the CCRPC alternate vacancy or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a different thing, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what it says, but I just I'm totally confused by that, especially because Karen. I had thought that Karen Peterson was our rep on that. And and I thought, oh, well, we should probably indicate that. Because not just call her the public,
Right,
right, at the
Yeah.
time, and then later I encountered this thing about. Representative, and I was like, oh, well, maybe she's on GMT, and I got all confused and. Anyway, so if I'm getting confused, and lots of other people.
yeah, how do we phrase it? So it's that the planning commission.
Vacant
address-
alternate.
Yeah, so Karen Peterson is our representative and the alternate is vacant.
Okay,
So like Darren noted the vacant Williston alternate representative and encouraged a planning commission member to apply.
Gotcha.
Okay.
the alternate representative.
So that was my only clarification.
Okay, does that
And then
sound
I
fine
see-
then?
Chapin added, his, public comment.
Yeah, and did I remember that it was this meeting that I made that comment? I realized we didn't start the recording till later.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was drawing from the recording.
Great,
And
and
as far as the part about sending someone to talk about, I assume tier 1B and future land use, that discussion's about to start at the select board tonight, and I'm headed over to convey the vote that the planning commission took. But if anybody wants to go to another meeting tonight, you're welcome to come over, and I'm gonna pack up and go, because they're starting to talk about the multi-use path scoping study, which is also finalized. So they're talking about that tonight, and we'll make sure to circulate that around to folks as well.
Yeah.
Particularly when we start talking about how to take action on next steps, because those are likely to originate from here again. But I'm gonna go over and see what the conversation's like for that, and then be there for tier 1B, future land use at the select.
Great.
And you will all be gone by the time I'm back here, so have a good.
do we have a motion on the minutes?
I'll move to accept the minutes as amended.
Do we have a second? Mickey second, all in favor? Aye. Any abstentions or nays? Abstentions? Jill? So that's me, Megan, Mickey, Chapin as the ayes, and Jill abstained. Great.
So we have 6 people for the election, but. Is there-
We had
With
Shayla.
Shayla.
was
There's
here.
these-
Yeah,
Feel-
okay, so there's.
Except for Steve.
Sometimes in the minutes we note that Shayla left at,
Yeah.
7:35 or whatever it was.
On to the fiscal year 2025 annual report.
Yep, so we need a volunteer to help finesse the document. I think Hannah got started on
I
some
went
of
through
it.
the agendas, yeah.
So we have a rough draft of what the high points were. This goes from July 1st of last summer through June of this year, so it'll capture a lot of our internal town plan writing and getting it over to the select board.
And the one from last year was written in like January. So it's always better when it's a fresh memory.
Yes, if we could get a volunteer and actually get it done relatively quickly, that would be good.
I can do it, but I do need, I will do it very soon. because I'm useless in the fall when I get slammed with teaching.
I can send you the Word doc,
Okay.
the 24 one, if you want to
Yeah,
just use
That'd
that.
be great.
Yeah, but maybe if we get it by the August 5th agenda, that should be enough time.
Yeah.
Can
Thanks,
I
Megan.
can I suggest having Steve be reached out to if he wants to participate with you, Megan?
Sure.
I mean, you could do that maybe directly. I don't know if that's a way for him to gradually get doing things. I know he's he's just avoiding any situation where he could be contaged. But maybe he could work on something like that offline.
Yeah, I think he would like that. I know he's planning to return at some point later this year. It just depends on things are going well and a couple checkpoints with his doctor. So I think he'd probably like to help with the fun words because he's good at that.
Great, thanks for volunteering, Megan. And then on to training, the town's conflict of interest ordinance and volunteer policy.
Yeah, thanks, Hannah. So no one's in trouble. We are just trying to regularly update all of our boards and committees on the boring policy stuff. So the town's conflict of interest ordinance lays out how public officials should preserve the public trust, how we act and conduct business in public meetings to be respectful. It also lays out standards of conduct for board members. And it has rules for ex parte communications. Those are more important for boards like the Development Review Board, where they're having a quasi judicial proceeding at court. So if someone comes up to you in the grocery store aisle and is like, hey, you're having your town plan public hearing next week, can I talk to you about that? Go at it, have a good conversation. The DRB, on the other hand, if someone comes up and says, hey, I wanna talk to you about that development application that's on your agenda next week, the DRB member has to say, actually, I can't talk about that in this form. It only has to be, public comment can only be taken at that formal hearing. There's.
Is there anything that we, like, what under our jurisdiction falls under kind of that category of things? Is there anything we do that we would need to redirect public comment or interaction in the public to a different forum?
Probably not, quasi judicial matters are personnel hearings, road layouts and discontinuances. Hearings under interim zoning rules, that's a bylaw hearing, contracts. So anything that you guys are doing is a policy document, you're not reviewing any grant awards, funding applications, you're just doing a policy document. So you don't have to
If
worry.
you're stuck with someone who really wants to tell you everything and you need to get going, it can always be a great excuse on why they should go to a public hearing.
Yeah.
Perfect. You can get out of that grocery line.
Exactly.
Great.
It also has disclosure and recusal procedures. So say, for example, there were to be a big bylaw amendment and your land were to be very significantly impacted. I mean, everybody lives in town, so literally anything you do with zoning is going to impact it one way or another. But there are some circumstances where, say we were having the Glazer review and you lived right next door to it, that probably would have been a moment to recuse from that type of discussion or application. It also has the rules for ethics violations and complaints, so if a member of the public has a concern with how a board member acted or operated, this is the procedure involving the Board of Civil Authority. And it's just good to every once in a while read through everything, especially how a public official should represent the town, and some of those standards for conflict and conduct. The second item is the town volunteer policy. This is not an ordinance, it's a policy. It has some of those rules about, being being prepared for a meeting, participating actively, being respectful of different opinions, both with each other and the public. There is an attendance requirement of a minimum of 60%. And there are some rules for leave of absence. So if you have personal illness, if you have to care for a family member, if something comes up, contact the chair and one of us, and we will help get everything situated. And then lastly, with that training, when we bring on new board members, we'll probably do something similar. Just to keep everybody on the same page.
There was a year or so ago, we were talking about particular topics and then Matt was stopping us and say, because we are talking more than certain number of people, then
The
we should-
forum, yeah.
What is that about? I can't
Yeah.
remember what was the actual
It's
rule
part
or
of
how
the
many.
open meeting law.
Yeah. What
Do
is
you
that?
wanna review that?
Can you explain again? What, I just don't want to get into.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So there are some rules that aren't in these documents about a quorum, how voting takes place, and open meeting law. Because you have full-time staff, you don't have to worry so much about that. Your agendas have to be posted within a certain number of hours before a regular meeting. It has to be posted in public places for people to access. We automatically host hybrid meetings and record all of our meetings. But if we didn't and somebody requested it, we would have to provide it. So we do a lot of the back end work of making sure this body is complying with open meeting law. And keeping it accessible for folks who might not be able to attend in person but can only join online. There is the quorum requirement, so where formal decisions are being made. 4 people need to vote in the affirmative. So if there's only 4 people in the room that night, all 4 people have to vote, and that's that same quorum rule for the Development Review Board as well.
So 4 have to be agreed or it doesn't matter, only so long as 4 is voted?
4 have to agree
Oh,
So-
For the thing to pass.
Yeah.
for the
that's
thing
what
to
I thought.
pass, yeah. Mhm.
But then there's also restrictions on deliberation offline, for instance.
Yes.
Can you wanna speak to that?
Yes, I can speak to deliberations, so deliberations are limited to. The Development Review Board, because they're having that court-like proceeding, and the Select Board. It's when the body can meet in closed doors without the public there. Anytime the Select Board goes into executive session, aka deliberative session. They're making a motion and they're explaining why, so it's usually town property, a personal matter, and something along the effect of premature public knowledge could negatively impact the outcome of whatever we need to discuss. The DRB can go into deliberative session because they are reviewing all of the public testimony, so they're being very careful when they close that hearing. Do I have all the evidence I need? Do I have all the site plans and application materials from the applicant? Do I have all the public comment letters? And then they're looking at it in public comment. Because you guys are not a decision-making body in that same way, you aren't afforded that right to a deliberative session.
So, and the reason that matters, that last thing you said, is that, for instance, if Mickey and Hannah and I, plus Shayla, got together and had an email exchange, and made a whole bunch of preliminary decisions. That would be but because we would constitute a quorum of 4. That would then be in violation of the open meeting law, because we had kind of gotten together out of the view of the public.
Yes, exactly. If there happens to be an event where more than a quorum of the board is together and you don't discuss public business, so everybody's at the ice cream social on the 4th of July. That's not violating the quorum rules, so long as official business is not discussed.
But you do have to be careful with email exchanges.
Yes, so that's why we keep emails to attendance, logistical focus. If we were to pull up the VLCT guidance on SharePoint stuff, their take on things is a lot more conservative than how we used it. But we use the the shared documents where everything is public, everybody can see comments that are being made, and there were no quorum sidebar conversations happening in a little bit of thread. We were very focused on everyone staying in their lane, and it's all discussed in public forum before a vote happens. So the whole chain of communication is publicly visible.
And transparent, yeah.
A good rule of thumb is never to do a reply all on an email to members of the commission, the planning commission even. However, it is fine to do that if it's about the agenda. What should be on the agenda. You can ask to have things put on the agenda in a reply all. You just can't discuss the items that are on the agenda.
Review.
Do we have any other questions or comments on training or town policies? Solid. Emily, announcement on the town plan raffle?
Yeah, so our photo raffle is live. You can win $100 gift card to Williston Coffee Shop. Or members of the public can win. We published it last week, already have gotten a couple responses. Steve Shepherd, he's a photographer, he separately sent me a bunch of his Google Drive photos. I'm hoping to get a poster rolled out, and we can get posters up around town, so I might send out an email later this week. Hey, posters are out in the permit pickup box if you want to help spread the word. We'll probably keep it open probably till the beginning of August, when we're finalizing that draft for the August 19th hearing. So a lot of those placeholder photos will get filled. And I will be sending it out to our departments, because the world through the eye of police, fire, public works, with all of the projects that they work on and community engagement, they could probably have some good photos as well. So yeah.
Can you have a QR code on the poster?
Yep, I'm planning to do a big old QR code.
Lovely. I think that's the end of our agenda tonight. So we will adjourn. Cool.
Let's do it. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Have a great
everybody.
evening.
Bye, Chapin.
Bye.
Wow,
Jill.
thanks. Bye.
Bye.